And cheers! Welcome back, everyone, to the Always Dale podcast. I'm Santiago Godoy, and this is Alex, one of the co-founders of Always Dale, and Alex is an extraordinaire, helping in every single way. He holds cameras and he holds our hearts in place. And if you don't know by now, Always Dale is an events organization. We throw house parties with festival vibes.
When you could have them.
Exactly. Back in the day, so right now we just cry in our rooms and pray for better days.
Like in the dark ages, still have parties. Yeah.
Before COVID destroyed everything that we once loved.
Great timing.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. Today, I think we're actually going to touch on a few different things. We're going to touch on International Women's Day, and then really wanted to get into sampling as a topic. It's something we've been touching on for a while. And we'll also touch on new releases and things like that. Before
you
that,
embrace your Lord and Savior Dale.
Dale, yeah. If you haven't yet taken Dale as your Lord and Savior, then you should now. Just sign up today. How have you been, my man?
I've been great. I've been working lots, keeping busy. I know we don't talk much, but
I know I never see you. I never get to see you ever.
I've been great. Lots on the go. How you been?
Yeah, I see you've been digging up a lot of good music. I've been good. I have been putting like DJing stuff aside, but now I'm set up on like our new setup downstairs, which we got like new equipment, which is really exciting for DJing.
Brand new mixer
and CDJs, which is super dope. They have a lot of features for when you mix and DJ, and
I have no idea what I'm doing.
It looks so cool, and I just like looking at it. I need to play on it.
I love all the bright lights and buttons. I have no idea what they're doing. But they look cool.
Beep boop boop beep. Look at me. And like Josh is like, please stop. It's like, fuck my life. We need to do that this weekend and just kind of start jamming out again.
Yeah, Josh is down. I was supposed to go Thursday on it.
Yeah, and it was awesome. I'm gonna skip to our last live stream. It was awesome to see like Kilma and House of Panda play on that.
Yeah, some real talented DJs.
Yeah, and it's awesome, and it's like, they can do all the cool stuff they want to do with that kind of equipment, and it's just really, they both played fire sets.
Insanely different sets, but very very good.
Oh, very good. Oh, yeah. Kilma's progression was really good, and then House of Pandas had just great techno. Hardcore techno.
I still don't see a huge difference between his speed house and techno, but he asserts that it's there.
You up it 10 BPM.
I just up it 10 more BPM. It's just like very much
make it 10% faster, and then.
But his speed house is already fucking fast. So it's
some of it, like I was like when talking to him, he was talking like computerized 3030, like that song of his.
Yeah,
we listened to it in this room.
Yes,
remember that?
Yes, I do remember.
It's that one's like that's in my techno playlist.
Yeah,
that's pretty much there.
That's when I hear like House of Panda sets, I'm like, oh, that's techno.
Yeah.
Like, well, the lines.
And some of it's like, okay, now this doesn't sound like all the other techno I hear. This sounds like weirdly fast and like.
Yeah, that was a techno set.
But that was awesome. There's some really great songs in there. And if you haven't yet, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. It's all live. The Kilma set will be up soon too, so you can see that one too.
Is he on our TikTok?
And check us out on TikTok. You gotta see it. I think
we are no contents on it.
We do have some content. Our last one got 6 plays, so we're just taking off.
I go on there once a week.
We're fire. I've never seen such little plays on a video.
We did the opposite of what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It was a promo for a thing, and it was just six plays, not likes, like plays.
I feel like a boomer on Instagram. I feel like I'm dropping minion memes on TikTok. Like, wait, why do people not get me? Why do people not vibe?
I'm trying so hard. What do you tweens want? Tell us in the comments below what you tweens want.
I relate to you. I'm an old man.
I dab. They tell me it's not in anymore. I don't know what to do. I point at things and text pops up and it does nothing. But yeah, man, I tried to make like a TikTok format video. It took forever, man. That shit is so much work. Mad respect.
People spend a lot of time making TikToks.
God. I can't commit too much on that. Yeah, like it's insane.
I have respect for the medium, and I don't like that a lot of people in our generation give it so much hate, because it's honestly just another medium for getting attention, and it's like anything before, like Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's just a much better version of it because you get so much more reach.
Yeah.
So.
You know what I think I'm noticing? I think people are starting to realize that faster and faster each time a new platform comes out. Like companies are hopping on it quick. Like they realize like, oh wait, this has just happened. We were shitting on Instagram and then Instagram took off. And then we were shitting on like whatever Vine and then it took off. And it's like, hey, now we gotta stop shitting on things.
Yeah, why do you just hate something because you just don't know it? And it's like I instinctively do it too. And
yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
Embrace new shit and see how it works. And, it might not always go somewhere, but if it does, it's super cool. Like.
And honestly, at the end of the day, you just have to listen to what Gary Vee says.
Yeah,
he says
honestly,
you just have to follow his.
As long as Gary Vee supports it, then you just ride his.
Whatever it is, I'm a huge Jets football fan all of a sudden.
I collect baseball cards now. I never liked baseball, but
I've lost so much money, but I just keep doing it. So like, just keep trying. I go to garage sales and like.
Same with Elon Musk. Dogecoin is the future of money. I've invested all of my life savings into Doge. Just because he said so.
That's the dream. Well, once you become a millionaire, let me know. We can hop into yesterday was International Women's Day.
It was.
Fantastic day to celebrate women.
Yeah, women are great.
I think it's just a really good opportunity to just like emphasize a lot of great local, not local, but international too, DJs and artists. There's just so many great artists out there producing great EDM music, and I think a lot of times it's kind of underrated.
Especially more than ever now. I feel like women just proliferate the music industry. I may have mentioned on the podcast before, but just in like the trap rap scene, just the amount. Oh yeah. For my trap rap, almost like over half of it's all women.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Like a huge wave
dominating that like scene.
And Cardi B just hit 5 times platinum.
Did she?
On her Bodak Yellow for the first female rapper to hit 5 times platinum.
Yeah, much love, much respect.
Much love. Come on our podcast, Cardi B.
Please. Even just mention us. Just trash us.
Please roast us. We welcome it. But yeah, and then as you were mentioning, like a bunch of trap rappers in the female industry, and I think there's a lot coming in, and it's specifically in EDM. I find like the techno scene is so dominated by great female artists, like coming out with great stuff and. Yeah,
dark vibes.
It's like super dark.
Girls, it's amazing.
It's like the least expecting thing. You just have like either like hardcore like house like trap kind of stuff from like Alice in Wonderland. I think
Alice in Wonderland
makes great stuff.
Who's oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. Cream, someone.
You like you mentioned Cream before.
Whipped Cream.
Whipped Cream.
She's phenomenal.
Is it trap house?
It's like trap, like hardcore, like similar to Whipped Cream. Sorry, something similar to Alice in Wonderland. Like
nice
dark trap. And I remember seeing her. I think she was just 17 at the time at EDC.
Oh my god!
And some guy at a different stage told me to go check her out. He's like, "Go check out this Whipped Cream. She's phenomenal." And I'm like, "Cool." Like. Finding new stuff at festivals, great. That's like half the reason I go.
And you're like Whippets? You're like, no, like Whipped Cream. Like, oh, okay, it's an artist.
Whippets over there? That's all I heard. I was right over. I was like, nitrous? I'm trying to find balloons. No, but like hard, dark, creepy. I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And you see this tiny little blonde girl on the stage with this like dark bummy. Like, I'm scared. This tiny little girl scaring me. It was very good. I fell onto her pretty quick.
Yeah, there's tons like Emily Lenz, Deborah DeLuca, tons more, and even like less dark stuff like Eli and Fur. They produce like just fantastic house tracks.
Yeah,
and I never knew they were a female. Here's Eli and Fur. Like, I don't know what gender that is.
Doesn't matter.
It could be an animal. Honestly, I thought it was an animal.
Can we get more animals producing music, please? There's an inequality in the music industry. Not enough animals. Bring birds back to music. Pay proper respect.
The original samples is birds.
Talking about sampling. No one's paid the proper dues.
To birds, and I agree.
Right? Where are the royalties?
Where are the royalties to birds? Everyone knows. Because if you think about it, to the audience out there,
Yeah.
What was the first? Where's the first music come from? Like, what's the first sample of sound of music? And it's probably like birds communicating with each other. Maybe.
Real. Like we still haven't got any anthropologists to reach out to us, so we're just spitballing here.
No,
but
I send them the videos and they just immediately screen me and block me on all forms.
Like, we want no part of this.
We've had multiple cease and desist letters.
It was birds on Molly, tripping balls.
We can maybe get Joe Rogan on this.
Birds on DMT.
Created music.
No, but it makes sense in terms of like it's a niche that they developed in terms of like
birds. We're still talking about birds. Yeah.
Birds, yeah, to evolve to attract mates, and humans would have taken that and mimicked it. In turn,
they're like, this shit sounds good.
Sounds
just swipe
great.
that shit.
I'm just swipe that and not pay my dues. It makes sense.
Yeah, I would love to segue in right into our sampling topic.
Let's go right into sampling.
I want you to take it off. I feel like you've done some good research.
Well, we've went through a few podcasts, TED Talks, articles on the history of sampling and in music. I want to reference like explicitly one article you sent me called like how white kids stole house music from black aunties.
Oh yes.
Well, like hip hop and electronic music, house music, specifically was heavily based off of sampling originally, where they would just take old disco records and flip them. So the original start of those genres was heavily to do with sampling, especially hip hop. It was all just ripping off other artists. And I want to discuss, is that a bad thing? Is sampling bad? Is there a morality against sampling? Because for the past 30 years, modern music is just heavily based around sampling.
Yeah.
And some paid dues, some haven't. Some have been more explicit ripoffs. Some have been more low-key. And I want your opinion too. I think open this up.
Once again, we haven't paid enough to birds.
Exactly.
And that's what we're trying to get to here. We're trying to represent birds. Oh my god. But touching on that article is really interesting because it goes into it kind of goes in on Daft Punk, which is disrespectful because R.I.P. honestly.
Yeah, it was the perfect timing that you sent me that article because Daft Punk just. Like R.I.P. They just died apparently.
Well,
one of them exploded in a horrific accident.
Oh my god!
You check it on TMZ.
I have not. The helmet was too much, probably. But yeah, it goes in on like how Daft Punk used a lot of samples from previous black artists. Mentions how Daft Punk is a white duo from France, which I didn't know. I obviously wasn't a big Daft Punk fan.
Huge dick rider of Daft Punk.
And it just mentioned how like that he kind of parallels it with like Elvis stealing rock music and stuff like that, which to me feels like a stretch, but I might be uneducated on the subject because of how much sampling they use and a lot of uncredited samples. I'm pretty sure within their tracks. But I think you also have to take you have to take a step back and take a bigger picture approach at the same time. Be like, hey, every single artist, every house, black and white artist has been using sampling for the past 30, 50 years, even longer, all the way back to birds.
Exactly. That's what I want to get into is that sampling is before the electronic ability to physically take samples and reuse them. Yeah. Inspiration has gone since the beginning of time. Yeah. Every artist has used their predecessors and their influences and redubbed them. Mm-hmm. You could look into Elvis or the Beatles, who more explicitly than Daft Punk took black artists' music, covered them, ripped them off, just completely took it basically. The first few Beatles albums were just covers of black artists. So like I don't know how much credit was paid. I don't know how much actual royalties were ever given over. But like the first Elvis hit, Nothing But a Hound Dog, was explicitly a steal from a black artist, a woman who never had any success. Wow. And then it skyrocketed because it was through a white man who could access the white Western audience, audience, I would say I didn't like the take on Daft Punk because I feel that
Because you're a big fan.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Dick Rider. That's why. But no, I think that they pay more homage to the artists that they took from. Now there may have been some sampling that they did not pay royalties for, but they heavily distorted those samples, and they were usually under like 3 seconds. So very small samples. So they were so uniquely different, as well as they had that song Teachers, which completely paid due and respect to the artists that they took from. They literally have a song where they name like 6 to 8 different artists that they got their inspiration from. So they definitely paid more respect. Now, previous artists, especially in early rock and roll, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, many others, Elvis, they just stole other people's music.
Yeah.
Like just stole
And
ideas.
never gave the credit.
Never
to
gave
it.
credit.
But additionally, is credit enough? Is it not the monetary compensation for the actual art also necessary?
Line? Where's also the line between inspiration and stealing?
I don't even know.
It's crazy
because the line is so blurred.
It's so blurred in art.
And it's so blurred.
Just
like blurred lines.
That's exactly where I want to go. Because this,
So if you don't know, well, we're segueing like pros today. Full fire.
Right into your DMs.
Who's next?
Sliding right into those DMs.
Who next out here? Blurred Lines by Robin Tick.
Robin Dick.
Robin Tick with 2 C's.
Thick.
So thick, thickety thick.
5 C's.
Kind of laid a huge precedent on the sampling world and legalities.
Yeah,
because
in the past decade.
What was they got sued by the people who own the rights to what Marvin Gaye song?
Got to Give It Up.
Got to Give It Up.
Family of Marvin Gaye. It was Pharrell Williams who mainly produced the song. I know credits are given to Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams, but he admitted in court to going into the studio, listening to "Got to Give It Up" by Marvin Gaye. But if you play those songs side by side, I'm sorry, they're just completely different songs. They're completely new. And then they had to pay out an $8 million lawsuit because you had all these old people in court being like, I recognize that song.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. It's a Marvin Gaye. And it's like, no, they're slightly similar. Like, if it has influence or inspiration, it doesn't mean it's a complete ripoff. Mm-hmm.
And that's not even an actual sampling thing. We're like, when we're talking sampling is straight up like cutting a piece of someone's art and then taking it and putting it in your own music, which happens a lot. But that was legit just them taking inspiration even lightly, and now setting a precedent for like anything forward of like this. Now artists have to be careful, and I don't know. How similar is too similar. And I think something I was thinking of today was like now with Spotify implementing AI and different kind of aspects to like analyze different music. Could we get to a point? I feel like this might be the solution where it's like if we get some sort of algorithm that we can kind of train and like somehow agree on in legality, and then take it to the courts, like, hey, if it reaches 80% similarity with any other song, if it hits a threshold of whatever it is within this algorithm that would analyze the song you have and compare it to whatever song you're comparing it to, or comparing it to all songs in existence, then at that point it's like you have some legal basis. So then you just have like a standard kind of practice, because there's so many ways a song can be similar to another song. It could be melody, it could be like composition, it could be just
structure.
All these different aspects of a song, and that is currently how the law looks at it. They actually look at those different things and be like, hey, how similar are they? And now they just make a really weird subjective call on like whatever.
I still see even that. Like, I'm super interested in that patent they did for that technology, in that algorithm. People don't know what they're talking about. Spotify patented a technology that analyzes every song on their database, especially new songs, to analyze them for similarities to previous existing songs. So to me, that technology seems really incentivized in order to protect Spotify or to protect big name artists. So I feel like in the case that an artist, there was a similarity, they would definitely lean towards the bigger name artists. Like, you'd say you had like a Taylor Swift versus a more low-key artist. If Taylor Swift posts a new song that has a similarity to a previous unknown artist song, are they actually going to be like, Taylor Swift, no, we actually can't let you post that? Or is it more due to the fact that if you have a lower key artist, post a song that sounds like a Taylor Swift song, I feel like that's where the defense is going to be mostly.
Potentially. I think right now they could use it so many different ways.
They could.
I haven't heard any like kind of controversy around it yet.
Yes.
I'm not sure,
I just see it
right
as
now.
More likely
I'm sure like they're using it, but like hey, to make sure that the same song doesn't get uploaded twice.
Yeah.
You know, like someone else takes credit for a different song that's already there, you know, and then gets views.
In like copyright law, that tends to be the way things have generally.
Well, they lean towards like the bigger players, yeah.
People who have representation and multi-million-dollar record companies representing them.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in that technology. I would love to be able to access that myself, to hear a song I really like and be like, okay, I want to hear everything that sounds similar to that.
Well,
that's fucking incredible. That's an incredible power that I would love as a music listener.
I don't think it's like that technology very much exists, and there might be other ones similar. Spotify probably has the most advanced, and already their AI is insane. I don't.
Spotify.
They might already be using similar stuff. I think the way they organize your music and give you suggestions is based on like they just do like they take what everyone like everyone would like. They're like,
Similar
okay,
case.
yeah, exactly. Like, you listen to these 3 songs, and so did these 40 other people,
Yes.
and like 30 of the 40 other people like this other song.
Yes. Similar like Amazon, like you bought this thing, everyone else bought this thing too. This is what they buy. Yeah, I think that's a powerful algorithm. I have some duds in my playlist, but Spotify gets me some bangers, some low key artists that have like 3,000 plays that I love. And at this point, I'm a Spotify dick rider. I know. Yeah,
it's so good for finding music.
So good for digging as a DJ.
Yeah,
to find unknown artists. It's incredible. I know that they get a lot of hate, and there's maybe they should be paying more to their artists. But
because that means I have to pay more. Gross.
I also think that they are able to get out so much more. Like visibility as an artist if you're on Spotify, artists able to blow up way more than they would previously. So I think that it's a give and take.
Yeah, and I think there's other platforms out there like SoundCloud and stuff. It's always harder to go through music on SoundCloud or these other platforms, and yeah, just the way they organize and give you suggestions, they do it way better than anyone else, I find.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. Well, back to sampling.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about the Pharrell case.
Yeah.
It was the 1991 case that kind of set the precedent for sampling. I didn't know, but it was actually a Biz Markie song, who's like a 90s hip hop artist.
Yeah.
It was Warner Bros. Case, which after that point, sampling became so expensive that it kind of disappeared from the music industry. Like it was, you had to pay out a sample if you were going to put it in your song. And there's artists that still have not paid and then ended up getting bite back later. But generally, past 91, sampling disappeared more in music, especially in hip hop. I love 90s hip hop and early hip hop, and there was way more sampling generally before that tidal wave and that turn. So I think that sampling just gives you more creativity and inspiration as an artist, and I like it in music. I don't know where the line's drawn in copyright, and you can say this is a definite ripoff, and that maybe respect should be paid. I don't know. Yeah,
it's crazy how kind of broad the laws are. Like it's 110% against copyright, and like looking at kind of listening to one of the lawyers. It's a Berkeley video. You can look it up. What's it called?
The TED Talk.
Yeah, the TED Talk, but also what's this guy? How copyright works. How sampling is different from stealing, which is not. It's essentially stealing. And he talks about how when you take a sample, you're not only infringing on one copyright, but like you're infringing on 2 different copyrights. Mm-hmm. One being the composition, so like the artist and how they structured the song, and then the actual rights of that, like of the recording, which a lot of times is owned by like a production company.
Yes.
So it's like. So if you're any sample that you take, and then like another lawyer also talks about this, he suggests all his clients to like not sample at all because it's like by law you could get screwed over so easily.
Yeah.
But it's such a shame for like us as an audience because there could be so many great things being made with like
modern music
samples,
especially house music. Especially even modern house music, even maybe not as much hip hop now.
Yeah.
Modern house music is so much based off sampling. It's so heavily based on the remix. Mm-hmm. How many great remixes are there of songs that you maybe didn't even like before?
Exactly.
And it's like that's a little bit more allowed and like paid and actual like credit is given for sure, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does limit things, but you just have to do it in a way that like it does pay the people that you're sampling and like maybe like pay homage and so on. I think obviously the Robin Thicke. Blurred lines. Blurred.
He's not talented.
No.
Just
I haven't heard him since. Anyways,
he happened to be born to a famous singer dad. So
oh really? That's how?
Dad. I don't remember his dad's name, but he was just born into fame. That's why he's famous.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good for him.
Being born in the right place.
Yeah, but like that case is just that seems like pushing the limits in terms of like.
And you think Pharrell Williams has ever ripped off anybody in his life? Like no, he's one of the greatest producers of all time. I have so much respect for Pharrell. Like,
yeah, probably. I don't know enough.
He ever attempted to disrespect Marvin Gaye. I think if anything, he was like influenced heavily by Marvin Gaye and went in to try to like pay respect.
Yeah,
you know? And that's why he even openly admitted that in court that he was listening to the song, because I think to him, like that he's not gonna lie. He's paying respect to the music that's influenced him.
Yeah,
and I ended up biting him in the ass, unfortunately, and was the reason people said, "Well, you stole his song."
Yeah,
he definitely did not.
And what did we learn from that?
To lie.
To always lie.
Always lie.
Always lie.
Always lie. Always Dale.
That's a new slogan. Always lying. Lie through your teeth. And then say you didn't use any samples.
You can use a sample though in a way that completely changes it from the original.
Yeah,
like Daft Punk case, or the one TED Talk you had sent me, where he uses a very famous song and uses like 1 second bites from the song and creates a completely different song that's unrecognizable.
But at that point, it just feels like that's almost pointless. I find when it's that unrecognizable, you're putting more work into making it sound completely different than you were if you just wanted to make that thing you wanted to do from scratch.
It's a weird line.
Like the way I want to name drop him if you want to see this video. Yeah. He's also a lawyer and does the copyright law.
He's very interesting.
Has a really good kind of take on it. And then his name is Abid Hussein. And you can look him up on YouTube, and he has a really good video, and he makes also EDM music, and he takes like Single Ladies was one of them, and he chops it up to the point where it's not recognizable, and like by law, like that could like pass as like okay, but when I mean unrecognizable, it literally doesn't sound at all like the song. He takes like 1/2 second, and then like takes it's okay, that's pretty much useless. And like the best part of sampling for me is like it is recognizable and it's implemented in a new way, and it's like the familiarity is the great part. Like, oh, I love that bit of that song, and I love how it's putting into a techno track. That's amazing.
Yes. Again, that goes all the way back through the history of music and in other mediums of film of art, like film too. Like every artist has been influenced by artists before them, and it's like I still don't know where the line's drawn. It's so ambiguous to me. It's so nuanced.
Yeah.
I don't know where you draw the line.
I think as long as people are getting their proper share of moonies from it, and I think if there's not a big imbalance, like I don't know the details of it, but like a profit sharing structure sounds like a really good way to do sampling, not maybe just like a fixed fee, because then it's like, you know, the broke artist that samples doesn't have to pay as much out as the rich artist that samples. Because then it's like you're just getting a profit share aspect, and I'm sure some deals are like that already. But maybe if it was just standard, like if you're sampling someone for a certain amount of time, and then they'll get X amount of money from this track. And that's the standard. You don't have to arrange that with their like label and go with the thing. I think that'll just allow a lot more good music kind of coming out, and
for sure.
And we win as an audience, and artists lose. Always, somehow they always lose.
That's the thing with the internet, though. It's just like more and more free access to things.
Yeah,
and like the devaluation of art in general. Like everything's just becoming more and more free and more accessible. And
you think it's devaluing art?
And to an extent, it is, because I see just like the free access.
It's like it's kind of saturating the market. It's
saturating
art.
The market, and it's just kind of a pressure to release things in a free context now. But I also see it as a very positive shift.
But it's also empowering artists, and like in a weird way, it seems like no matter what we do, artists are still getting fucked over. It's like labels are not as powerful anymore, but like now it's just like the Spotify's and like et cetera of the world that like also leave artists that do have a lot of influence in our culture not being properly compensated and just like being broke. And like it just reminds me of that Atlanta episode we just watched. Where the rapper dude, he's just, everyone thinks he's famous because he has a song on the radio and he's rich and so on, but he like lives with his mother and just like walks everywhere and gets mugged. His life is terrible.
The perception of him is so much higher than the actuality.
And then even talking to Sasha, he's saying too, like big artists like in the city too, it's like they're just even if you're big, a lot of times you're just not financially there. You're not financially compensated for what you create. So I don't know. I'm always interested in finding new methods to support artists.
For sure. And I don't like this idolization of artists or like putting them into this like godlike tier where like they can't be treated like human beings anymore. I think it's a very negative viewpoint where it's like, oh yeah, the song's so big that like I can talk shit on them on Twitter or something. Or just treat them like a lesser human being because they're huge. They won't even care what I have to say. They won't even care what I think.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of celebrities, right? That's just how people treat them.
It's unfortunate because they're just an artist doing their career. They're just doing a job at the end of the day, making a living. Attempting to make a living.
Yeah,
your perception of them is often different from their reality. So.
Yeah, that makes sense, and as you can see, like it ends up affecting a lot of their mental health, and like it kind of comes back to bite in the ass. You're Definitely. Just like, everyone makes fun of Michael Jackson or Britney Spears until they like lose a screw in their head, and they're just like, why would that happen? They were so good. It's like, you just printed like every tabloid printing shit, every person reading it and like retweeting it. So
yeah.
It's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into that more on a separate podcast. I think that's a good point to leave that topic.
Yeah, I
feel like we could talk about it forever. It's just such an interesting topic. We always talk about sampling.
We should get a bird on and see their take.
To call out the privilege of humans.
You have human privilege.
Human privilege.
Yeah, you're right. We should be more supportive of animals.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if we're talking about new releases, new tracks.
Yeah, I think you had some ones.
I have quite a few. Talking about Elvis, this is a segue. There's like
he released a new track.
There's 3 Elvis remixes that just dropped.
Oh,
like new artists doing a take on an Elvis track. I found one because it was.
I feel like that can't be a coincidence. There must be some sort of.
There must be some kind of re-release happening or something.
Or like something it made out free. Someone put it out so they can remix it. I don't know.
I think the record label's like bringing in artists and being like, bring this music to a newer audience because it's so outdated at this point.
What?
Like, even
you don't listen to
like,
Elvis
nobody listens to Elvis or whatever. He trashed
that
Elvis.
Was 20 years ago.
Elvis slaps. Like I have my issues with Elvis, but there's some fucking good shit in there. There's some classic R&B vibes. Anyways, I don't want to go into it.
Is Drake the Elvis of the modern day? He just like takes other people's music and claims it as his own. And everyone's like, yeah, Drake is great. And it's like he's such a good lyricist. Well, like he doesn't really write his own lyrics, but he's such a good musician. Well, he doesn't produce his music. Like what is he?
He's DJ Khaled.
He's kind of like the face of the music.
Fucking accurate.
He's Elvis.
He's hot. That's what matters. He's an actor. So Chromeo did a remix of Clean Up Your Own Backyard, which is how I know him. It was like a classic like funk, synthy. It was like a southern country disco take. So it's like bringing Elvis and putting it to like a disco mix. And I fucking love it. So like looking into the other mixes, Dylan Francis did a remix of Do the Vega. Which is that
another Elvis track?
Electro house song. It's another track.
Is Do the Vega a Elvis track?
Yes, and he does it in like an electro house track.
Nice.
I wasn't as much of a fan as that one. Interesting take though, just like to hear Elvis in like an electro house sound, weird. And then Big Boy from Outkast did Catchin' on the Fast mix, and that was cool. It's like a hip hop take on Elvis. I love it. They
sound like the weirdest Outkast.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like in sampling though, like take Elvis songs and just completely change them.
Yeah,
and I love it. It's fucking classic. Like I don't pay Elvis enough respect. He just gets so much hate. I know my dad loves Elvis as like praise to like what he did for music, because like he ripped off people, but he also brought a lot of music into the mainstream and like.
That's one way to look at it too. I guess so. He championed other people's music as his own. Maybe if he didn't claim it as so much as his own. I don't know the details, obviously.
The problem is like Led Zeppelin too. Led Zeppelin has such a history.
Oh, Led Zeppelin's so good.
Offs.
Oh, does he?
Huge Led Zeppelin fan. Huge.
Have you gone back to listen to the originals?
So they've had like lawsuits that are like specific songs that rip up other songs, like a Stairway to Heaven case.
Yeah.
And they don't sound as similar at all. What they did is they took segments from other artists and like incorporated them. So they were such a creative hub, and they had so many ideas. They were obviously very talented on their own.
Yeah.
They would tour with another band. I think Spirit was one of the bands they toured with, and they heard stuff like riffs or like pieces from their stuff, and they would just incorporate them. And like the Lemon song is famously like ripped off of another artist, maybe Spirit, but they didn't explicitly just steal songs. They were just incorporating ideas. So it's like it's ripping off. It's stealing to an extent, but it's also just influence. Like the line is so gray.
I think to me, as long as you like, they probably just should have given credit. They should be able to steal, but also give credit and give them monies.
Do they even know if they're stealing? A lot of the times, if you're writing, do you even know where your influence is coming from?
Oh,
you know what I mean? I don't know because I can't.
Pharrell knew.
But he did know. But artists sometimes, I think, when you're creating, you don't even really much realize where your shit's coming from. Especially if you're just creating so much music, you're like taking in stuff. Like Robin Williams is famous for just ripping off so many.
I hope that's Elvis' perspective. Like I don't know where it came from.
He definitely explicitly stole songs.
I make so much music, and I just look at that,
he explicitly
and it doesn't matter. Yeah, he just straight up like takes it.
It's such a nuanced take.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think there's an influence aspect, but I think there's points where a lot of artists do know where they're like, oh yeah, I was listening to that song and I was like, that part sounds cool. I'm like, I do this,
there's definite rip-offs.
Yeah,
it's hard to know. You don't know the artist. You don't know where they landed or where they came from.
No, you don't know what Britney's going through. You don't understand.
You've done enough. Gorgon City remix. John Summit again.
Ooh, John Summit coming out with some fire. I saw him on the cover of one of the Spotify playlists. I'm like, not surprised.
It's like a summery beach vibe, kind of like a tribal house-ish take. I just think he just is, everything he touches is gold right now. I just can't get off.
He can't get
John
wrong.
Summit's dick.
I need to check that out. Nice tropical
I have a lot
house.
more, but I want to cut it short because I know you don't have a ton to talk about. But
that's more reason for you to talk more, baby girl.
Okay, well, S.G. Lewis dropped an album.
Oh, I like S.G. Lewis.
Yeah, he has that song "Chemicals." This was a huge hit. So it was like leading up to his initial release. This album "Times," which is a new disco pop album, very much similar to the.
Give it to me. Tell me.
Dua Lipa album they just dropped this past summer. Disco music is very prevalent.
You ripped them off, you're saying?
No, it's just disco music is very prevalent in modern pop right now.
Yeah, it's really
like,
cool.
Trap, like a decade ago, like proliferated pop music. I can't speak.
Tongue-tied over here.
Proliferate. I can't give up. Pop music, similar as disco now. Disco is just an all pop music. And it's a good pop album. I'm not a huge pop guy generally, but it has Nile Rodgers on it. He does a song like One More. He produced that. Nile Rodgers is from Chic, one of the greatest disco groups of all time. Like, I'm in love with him.
What are some of those songs from Chic? Because they're super well known. No, I forget the names. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but you've been good so far.
Their big hit, "Good Times," is their most well-known song. That song, that riff, it's like an 8-minute song, was like huge within the black community. Hypnotize ends up retaking it. And, you know, the Biggie song, R.I.P. to Biggie, he actually died today.
Yeah.
I was looking up in hip-hop music news. He took that song and mixed it.
I'm sorry, he died. Oh, he died. Yes. On this day many years ago.
Yes. That's not the song. That's not the song he ripped off. I'm so sorry. Good Times was remixed for that first hip-hop song of all time.
Oh.
That song, Rapper's Delight, that I mentioned previous on the podcast, which was basically they just took Good Times took the bass line and they rapped over it, and they were a bunch of talentless hacks.
Oh,
that
shit.
riff was so popular. People would just ride around the streets of the cities listening to like a 30-minute tape of just that riff over and over again because it was so funky, it was so cool. It's one of the greatest songs of all time. Good Times by Chic. Chic, Nile Rodgers is like a disco legend, funk legend, like amazingly talented. He worked with Daft Punk on their last album, Random Access Memories.
Oh, cool.
Insanely talented guy. And
so if you think you don't know Chic, you do know Chic.
You definitely know Chic.
Because it's like the disco songs you see in like every other movie too. It's like
they're like the most legit disco artists.
Yeah.
With like really good instrumentation and like just great writers.
Exactly.
Less bubblegum, more like actual like music. Whatever that means. Whatever
real
that means.
music.
Yeah, real music, bro. Not like that fake shit. Getting all
got that pure shit.
So that album was great. Good summer pop album. I can mention Vibe Check by Grizz.
Ooh.
He has like a dubstep electro funk sound. Lots of saxophone. You know, he actually plays saxophone and he'll play it live.
Oh shit!
At events, and very talented. And I just love hearing like a saxophone brought back in general. I think it's just a cool instrument. It died for the longest time, especially with like a dubstep mix. It's like, what the fuck? It's so weird.
You know what's so funny about the saxophone? When I was in Europe, in clubs, they would just bring it out all the time. Like it was a thing.
I love the saxophone.
It's a funny addition because they would sax over like a bunch of songs. They would have a sax guy come out at like a normal like mainstream club. I'm like, oh shit, it's a sax guy. And now like in Spain and in Paris. So yeah, they should bring that here. We should do sax guys.
It was so inundated in music that people started to hate it due to like Kenny G and like the rise of smooth jazz.
Oh.
And it just got completely like canceled. Similar to like disco. Everyone just fucking hated Kenny G for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But now with like Blinding Lights by The Weeknd,
he
had Kenny G like featured as like a remix on his song.
Oh,
Kenny G is like, fuck yeah, because saxophone is back. And he's like one of the greatest saxophone players of all time.
I can get laid again.
I'm not a fan. I don't always stuff that well. Not a huge smooth jazz guy, but saxophone is just very back in music. So I'm happy to hear it because it's a sexy, beautiful, like emotional instrument.
It's so cool, especially like live too. It just has so much power behind it. And like someone's like, whoa, shit, this is legit right now.
Kenny G can fuck me.
Yeah. Another shout out. Hello.
I don't know. Do we want to wrap it there?
I have one track to your 400.
I have more, but
I know you have more. I haven't been really digging into music too much, but DJ Nork Joshy Boy sent me a Carl Cox techno track.
Hell yes.
It was called What Lies Beneath. Part 2? Was there part 1? I haven't listened to part 1.
Part 7.
Part 46. This takes me back to this other artist called Paul Krakenberg. And his album list. So he has like, it's an album with all his music. There's like 10 tracks. And each one's called like part 1, part 2, part 3.
Okay.
But it's not in that fucking order. It's like, so the first track is like part 4, and then like the next track's like part 12, and the next track is like part 3, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. Why would you call it like this and then not put it in the order? Like, it's just
it doesn't flow at all. If it doesn't have like a sequential like progression.
Not much, but either way, it doesn't matter. Like, the fact that I think he's just trolling people at that point.
Yeah,
he chose the album order, and then he chose all the names just to be called number.
Fuck song names. Kendrick Lamar dropped that Untitled album after To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Later,
yeah.
And he just named it like Untitled 1, Untitled 2, and then he just put the date of the song. A lot of them were like obvious B-sides and like deep cuts he had off of To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah.
And he just threw onto there. So it's an incredible fucking album.
I originally
disregarded it just because of the name myself. Like, I'm just as bad. Just because it was called Untitled, I was like, oh, this is going to be...
Well, it seemed like he doesn't care.
No, it just seems like he doesn't give a shit. And then you listen to it, it's fucking incredible. It's an amazing album. Even though they recorded separately, with some kind of flow. So yeah, the name really doesn't mean a shit. it doesn't matter.
No. But now imagine that Untitled 1, Untitled 2. Now all the tracks are mixed up. So you start with Untitled 4 and then go to Untitled 18. Like, and now you're trying to explain to someone, it's like, oh, it's track 2, but it's Untitled 5.
Yeah,
You're just like, fuck me. I'm like, why would you do this? Anyways, Carl Cox did drop a really good techno. Well, it's a pretty decent techno track. I think he has other really good techno if you go back. And if you don't know Carl Cox,
is he good?
He's the biggest OG. He's
been around forever.
Yeah, this guy has been around like literally since the beginning of time, since Birds. Yeah. He was the first to sample Birds. he was there.
Inspired Birds to make music.
I think his story, he started as a security guard and then he got into the scene, but I think he's been around for like over 25
I love
years.
His sets. His shit's so minimalist.
Yeah.
But like very progressive in like
it's very pure
house.
EDM house, like super progressive transitions between songs and like more subtle stuff kind of going on, like not super like vocally and like crazy drops as much.
He doesn't need to go hard.
Yeah,
because people respect him.
And a lot of his stuff. So there's a lot of like kind of those OG DJ kind of guys that like really fuck with the song while they're playing mixing. Like they're heavily mixing, like doing crazy loops and like doing crazy stuff where it's not like they just take a song and mix it to the next song. It's like they're blending like up to 4 songs at the same time and like creating new music, creating new sounds live completely and just like playing with the audience. So it's super cool.
They're like that guy, he's like in a sense sampling.
Well, he's a DJ. He's literally taking.
It's literally what DJing is. That's what I'm saying. It's like
at that point, it's just DJing.
You're creating new music in a sense. You're creating new art.
I don't know if he puts it out as like his own tracks, but it's really cool the way
it has a clear like parallel. Sampling, like DJing does. If you can create new sounds
and the effect music you have on people, where it's like, oh, he's interpreting this thing that sounds familiar in a new way.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I respect.
I saw you looking at the computer. Are we over 2 hours yet? Or
no, we're quite on. I wanted to mention one more song. But
Go for it.
Okay. Your Kisses Taste Like Honey by Funk the Beat. They're like a disco house producer. They just take like old disco songs and they flip them. The reason is I just really love the Bee Gees sample.
Cool.
I don't know the name. I think it's literally Your Kisses Taste Like Honey is the original song. But it's like a fun, upbeat disco house song. And Jay-Z used this sample. Talking about sampling. Hova. In the Best of Both Worlds, which is like an R. Kelly, R. Kelly and Jay-Z tape that they made together, collaborated on.
Okay.
And it's really good. This song Honey, is one of my favorite Jay-Z songs of all time. Because it's like Jay-Z and R. Kelly rapping over this disco track. And I fucking love it. And it's hard to find. I can't get it on Spotify. It's a fucking incredible song. Fuck R. Kelly, but that song is fucking incredible. So I just wanted to shout out this take on that Bee Gees song just to kind of highlight this other song I really love because I think people should listen to it. If you're a hip hop fan, especially a Jay-Z fan, fucking find this song because it's so good.
What's it called again?
Honey.
It's called Honey?
It's called Honey.
Nice.
Because it's a Bee Gees sample. And it's so good. I love like funky hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop goes funky.
I love that.
Back to its roots.
That's great. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's fantastic.
Wow, I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, wait, we have to mention no toxic masculinity,
yes,
please.
Yes.
That's part of our segment, so we just have to make sure people know.
And no toxic femininity either.
None of that. Not here. Follow us on Always Dale TikTok.
Yes.
Let us have more than 6 plays per video.
Check out our next podcast in 3 months.
Yeah, we'll have the Kilma one up. We have a Kilma interview coming up some point. Well, it'll be out before this one.
How dare we record this before we've
I know. I posted a picture of this, and Kilma probably was like coming back. Okay, it's gonna be out, so it's already out. So check out the Kilma interview. Check out the Kilma stream.
I'm so sorry, Kilma.
I know we love you so much, but we are so slow at producing things.
We're busy.
We're busy boys. We're out here just crying ourselves to sleep. But go on our YouTube, Always Dale, and you can find both House of Panda set and Kilma set. It's really good.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, leave some comments, leave some feedback. If there's anything you want to talk about,
yeah,
let us know.
We'll talk about it.
If you're an anthropologist, please hit us up. Please. We want to know about birds.
Street music.
And birds. Bless.